site, as always, is Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Back for our 8th season of Ballroom Boxing. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. Great to be back with Jon Saraceno. Yes, it's our 8th season in the Ballroom, and we think the main event, Lamont Pearson, Louisa Lizarraga, is the best one we've ever had.
Well, Larry, it has implications in the junior lightweight division. Lamont Pearson, back in the spring, was the #1 contender in the IBF, suffered a shocking loss that has been a setback for him temporarily. He's got to come back strong tonight.
Lizarraga has seen the Ballroom before, been victorious. Though he has a losing record, he's been a giant killer.
Well, he's been a real spoiler. Luis Lizarraga, very tough character out of Mexico, does not have a good record, but his last 2 victories were shocking knockout defeats. One of them was right here in the Ballroom Boxing Series against Jermaine Fields, which ended Fields' career. Then against Tanto Chanchev, he also knocked him out. He hasn't been able to win since, but he did have a USBA junior lightweight shot in the spring, lost a controversial decision to David Santos. He's back to prove himself again.
So the big question tonight, will Lamont Pearson stay on the championship trail, or will Lizarraga have the big upset? That's coming up tonight in our main event. Ballroom Boxing is back when we return. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. By BallroomBoxing.com for the latest in ballroom boxing action and upcoming live events and season tickets. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Lonnie Kornegay, Chris Medina in our fight coming up right now. Jon Scheinman with a look at this battle. John?
Larry, this bout was contracted at the light heavyweight, maybe like 1 or 2 pounds over the light heavyweight limit. And Lonnie Kornegay came in way overweight. He spent a half an hour at the weigh-in jogging around, still checks in at 184.5. I don't know what kind of condition he's in. We're going to find out now.
We sure are. This is our 8th season of Ballroom Boxing, and get it started, as always, here he is, Pat O'Malley.
Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl M. Milligan Jr. and Executive Director Patrick Vanella, along with the Commissioner at ringside, Phil Feaster, and Ballroom Boxing promoters Scott and Michael Wagner, matchmakers Chris Middendorf and Josh Hall, present this 4-round bout in the cruiserweight division. Judging the bout are Gary Campaneschi, Kenny Chevalier, and Malik Waleed. Your scorekeeper is Don Risher, and the man in charge in the ring is referee Bill Holmes. Now it's time for more Ballroom Boxing. This 4-round bout in the cruiserweight division. Introducing the boxers to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the solid black trunks. He weighs 176.5 pounds. From Ridgewood, New York, he comes to us with a record of 1-3-1. Please welcome Chris Medina. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black and white trunks, weighing 184.5 pounds. He is from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 0-1-0. Please welcome Lonnie Kornegay.
Kornegay and Medina in the ring in the Ballroom tonight. Jon Saraceno with a look at this matchup. John?
Both fighters listed at 5'11", but Kornegay coming in with significant weight advantage. Let's see if it's really going to be in his corner tonight, Larry.
We have a
last time out for Medina, he was knocked out in the 4th round by John Vargas in New York. First time out of state for Chris Medina. He is 1-3-1. Lonnie Kornegay knocked out by the Dingling Man here in the Ballroom back in September of last year, so we are underway. Kornegay in the black trunks with the white trim. Kornegay from Baltimore, Maryland. Medina from Ridgewood, New York. Bill Holmes is the referee for this battle. Fight schedule for 4 rounds here in the Ballroom. And as we heard Jon Scheinman say in the setup, Mr. Saraceno, Kornegay came in a little heavy at the weigh-in yesterday.
Came in a lot heavy.
Big right hand by Lonnie Kornegay catches Medina coming in. Little uppercut that time as well.
These guys are throwing punches with bad intentions here early in the 1st round.
This could be what you call your atypical ballroom boxing fight. Neither man in the win column with the winning record. Both men looking sharp in the early going, though Medina on the receiving end of some pretty sharp punches.
Man, just sneak in a good right hand. There was another.
Medina snuck in a right of his own. Kornegay 24 years old, Medina 30. Good body shot, both men going to the body. Jon, psychological effect, I think, is as well as a physical effect. When you get knocked out, you got to get back in and see if you can take a shot.
Well, you're not going to be able to find that out in the gym per se. It does have to come on fight night. And the pressure of a fight in front of a crowd. The fact that you do not have headgear, protective headgear. The gloves are much smaller. They're coming much faster.
Nice right hand by Kornegay, and a right hand and a left by Medina. Both men coming off of knockout losses, and neither man showing much caution or much defense right now.
You wouldn't know they were coming off knockout losses the way they started this first round. What a torrid pace.
See Medina with his mouth open. Good right hand counter by Medina.
That was his best punch of the round, right on the jaw of Kornegay.
Kornegay known as Relentless Lonnie. Nice overhand right again by Medina, scoring points. Not a real powerful shot. And the left hand by both boxers.
This seems like a long first round to me.
Sure does. How about for them? You think it seems like a long first round of them as well, as the warning tap comes. And we approach the end of round one. This fight scheduled for 4 in the ballroom. Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno, great to be with you tonight for Ballroom Boxing. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, John Scheinman with us as well. And we are so pleased to be back for our 8th year in the ballroom. Seems like only yesterday we got this thing started with Scott Wagner right here in this same location, Michael's 8th Avenue.
Well, the series has really grown tremendously. This year we're reaching more homes than the show has ever reached. It's getting bigger and better. And really, promoter Scott Wagner and his father, Mike Wagner, have just done a tremendous job. We like to think of it as the best club show in America.
Yes, I would concur. In the ring right now, Lonnie Kornegay in the black trunks with the white trim going up against Chris Medina. I'll bring John Scheinman in quickly. John, you look at the records here, nothing much to write home about. 1-3-1, 0-1, but the first round pretty exciting.
I gave the first round to Kornegay by the slimmest margins. These guys are mirror images, Larry. Both looking to work off the jab and then go downstairs to the body with power shots, as you see right there. I mean, whoever has the will to put this thing in the later rounds is going to win this fight. But so far, they look exactly the same.
Things have slowed down here, Jon Saraceno, in round 2 after a very active first round for both fighters. Looking to counterpunch here in round 2.
Well, I think both fighters are trying to establish something behind their jab, too. That's important. They threw a lot of heavy power shots in that first round. Big right hands and left hooks and uppercuts. And when you miss with those shots, that takes a lot of energy out of it. This is only a 4-round fight scheduled. There's got to be some boxing in here, too.
Kornegay's left hand way, way low. Medina will try to make him pay, I'm sure. There's no way he misses that, as we can see that here at ringside.
You would figure Medina, with 5 professional fights, would have an edge in experience. But Kornegay's really holding his own. I had him also winning that first round by the slimmest of margins, 10-9.
Kornegay's only professional fight came in September of last year here in the ballroom, losing a second-round TKO to the Dingling man, Darnell Wilson. Medina beginning to press forward, but he is paying the price.
Both punchers getting a little bit wide with their shots here in the second round. You see Medina's mouth hanging open a little bit.
Slapping punches from both fighters here. As round 2 winds down.
Good body attack by Medina. He's been willing to gamble to expose his head to go downstairs, and that's worked for him. He's throwing the left hook from too far on the outside, though, Larry.
Kornegay working that left jab nicely, keeping a good distance from Medina. Medina almost loses his mouthpiece there off the right hand.
Well, it came halfway out, and he was able to stick it back in with his glove. Kornegay now outboxing him from the outside. Medina has a good jab when he uses it, but he's been loading up on the power shots.
Kornegay and Medina in the ballroom tonight. Round 3 when we return. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman with us as well. For more information on tickets, upcoming fights, and the Best of Ballroom Boxing series, log on to www.ballroomboxing.com. You might see a picture of Saraceno. You will see a picture of the ring card girls.
Or you might be in a hotel room, as I was recently in Florida, and I heard a voice on television that I recognized. Larry Michael. They were showing the Ballroom Boxing greatest hits.
And when you heard your own voice waking up from a sleep, you thought you were still dreaming. It had to be me waking you up, huh?
Well, we applaud the Sunshine Network for hopping aboard the bandwagon.
Gotta love that. Spreading the word. Round 3 underway. Kornegay in the black trunks with the white trim. And Chris Medina from Queens, New York. Last time out, got knocked out by John Vargas. We've seen John Vargas in the ballroom. Big overhand right by Medina, beginning to bring the heat a little bit here in round 3.
That's not all he's bringing. We just got sprayed at ringside by that last shot. This has been a really good scheduled 4-rounder. A lot of action in this fight.
Way Quadrado, the trainer for Christopher Medina, has his man. Oh, a good right hand by Kornegay. But Medina walks through it. Just got to wonder about the punching power of Kornegay. Originally from Puerto Rico, born in Puerto Rico, Christopher Medina.
Medina landed a right hand in that exchange, too. Neither fighter has shown much of a reluctance to back up. They continue to throw those big right hands. And it really looks like a contest of home run derby in there. If anything, they're trying to tell each other, hey, I'm going to get you my best shot before you can get me with yours.
Kornegay really slowing down with his punches, John. You can see he's got openings, but he can't pull the trigger fast enough right now. Now he's holding on as Medina making him pay.
Medina does a very dangerous thing when he moves inside. He closes his eyes when he's throwing punches. I don't know if he can see what's coming.
Good work on the inside again.
Medina's got to have this round.
Stop! Take
stay
a
in the
step
fight,
back on
you
a
would
break.
think. I mean, Kornegay had 2 very good rounds in 1 and 2. Medina's come back in this round. Kornegay continues to fight him on the inside at times, and he'll go outside with the jab. He's mixing it up very well. Good uppercut on the inside by Kornegay.
Beautiful. Beginning to rally here towards the end of round 3. Medina has had his moments. Very tough round to call here as round 3 comes to a close. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, you're watching Ballroom Boxing. Looking back, round 3 as it came to a close here. This fight scheduled for 4 rounds. The nice straight right hand.
Right in the whiskers.
Yes, indeed. You see Kornegay coming right back, walking through the punches.
Touch him up, guys.
Before round 4 gets underway, quickly to Jon Scheinman. Who is winning this fight on your card through 3, John?
Chris Medina, 29-28 onto my unofficial card. I thought he took over the fight in the second round when he began to hurt Kornegay to the body. And then he's except for isolated moments, he's been in control with the power punches the entire way, Larry.
All right, John, as much as it pains me, Jon Saraceno, I have to agree with Jon Scheinman.
And as I look at my unofficial scorecard, I also have it 29-28-20.
Very rarely are we all on the same page, but you know what? We aren't. That dreaded D word could come into play here tonight in this fight. No man has been hurt, no man has been down in this fight. A little trickle of blood from the nose of Chris Medina, and you're right, he closes his eyes on the inside, John.
Medina really needs this round. He's got to fight it as if he's fighting from behind, whether he is or not.
Off the ropes, Medina scores with the right hand, but Kornegay smothers him.
Well, that's what he's doing now. Kornegay's moving inside, and Medina can't get off that right hand.
Break! Step back.
Kornegay's hands are way down. You see how low they are by close to his waist there, John.
Well, he's breathing very heavy. He's tired, and so is Medina. That first round, Larry, I think took something out of both fighters. They continue to fight at a pretty good pace, but the first 3 minutes was just torrid.
Corner of Lonnie Kornegay just screaming at their man, get your hands up, get your hands up.
I think he would if he could. But a lot of times that's psychological too. You have to will yourself to do what you got to do in there for 3 more minutes. Obviously Kornegay's corner probably thinks he's ahead and he's winning the fight. They don't want him to let down. Maybe it could lapse into a draw.
Tell you, it's a very close fight on my card. Nice right hand by Medina. Not a lot of power, but it connects. Another nice right hand by Medina, and another. And Kornegay steps back.
Well, he's got to get that left hand up along his jawline. He keeps dropping. His corner's yelling at him. And on a warning from referee Bill Holmes.
Accurate call, holding and hitting the call there. And if Medina had a little more pop, Kornegay might be in some trouble. As it is, they're standing toe-to-toe. Medina getting the better, scoring with the right hand. You see Kornegay's punches, absolutely nothing behind it.
Boy, Medina just gutting it out here. You see how exhausted he is, hanging on Kornegay. But trying some kind of a two-fisted attack there. And he's trying to land that one right hand to stop Kornegay. Good body shot by Medina, Larry.
Kornegay's hurt, John. He is hurt, fighting on instinct right now. Not much time left in the 4th round, but a big round for Medina as Kornegay scores with a right hand.
Very close round.
Very, very tight fight as these two men in the ballroom gave everything they had through 4 rounds. Good fight. Kornegay and Medina go the distance. The decision is coming up in a moment. Good fight. Chris Medina taking on Lonnie Kornegay. It goes the distance, 4 rounds. Who won?
Well, I had scored a draw. Very tough fight. I thought Medina rallied and won the last 2 rounds.
We're going to find out from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards for the result. 38-38. Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 39-37. And Judge Malik Waleed scores it 39-37. The last 2 for the winner by majority decision, Chris Medina.
So Chris Medina takes home the victory. As I was saying before we came back from the timeout, I thought it was either going to be a draw or a victory for Chris Medina, but I didn't get a chance to say it on the air, John.
But I will vouch for you. You did say it.
Good fight. Chris Medina victorious. It goes the distance. One of the judges had it as a draw.
Did I talk to you yesterday?
Big argument there?
No, it was a close fight. I mean, the first round was very close. I gave it to Kornegay, but I thought Medina closed quicker. I gave him the last 2 rounds. I had it a draw, but you know what? I think they should do it again.
We'll be right back with more Ballroom Boxing. A Latin flavor for our next fight in the ring. Junior middleweights George Armenta and Angel Gonzalez. With more on them, here's John Scheinman. John?
Larry, fight fans should not be deceived by George Armenta's 5-2 record. This guy is an outstanding prospect from Silver Spring, Maryland. Anyone who watched Ballroom Boxing when he fought Yuri Foreman in March knows that he is a terrific fighter, heavy-handed puncher, good counter puncher, and his opponent tonight, Angel Gonzalez, is coming out of a 12-round state title fight. Well, state in Puerto Rico. His last bout went 9 rounds. This guy's very experienced, even though his record's only 4-2-1. Good test for Armenta, who's always matched tough.
Should be a good one in the ballroom tonight. Let's get it started with Pat O'Malley. Patrick.
And now it's time for more Ballroom Boxing. This 6-rounder will be refereed by Kenny Chevalier. Judging the bout, John Gradowski, Bill Holmes, and Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the green trunks. He weighs 152 3/4 pounds. From Newburgh, New York, via Puerto Rico, with a record of 4-2-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Angel Gonzalez. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the white and black trunks, weighing 155 1/4 pounds. His hometown is Silver Spring, Maryland. His record, 5-2, 4 via the KO. Please welcome George Agaisho, the Rooster, Armenta.
Rooster in the house, George Armenta. With a look at the matchup, here's the, I don't want to call you a rooster. Here's Jon Saraceno. I almost said that.
He almost said something else, I think. Gonzalez, you see his height advantage. It does not have the reach advantage over George Armenta. Very good matchup here in the ballroom. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. This is on paper just a tremendous matchup. Both men, similar records, similar styles, similar makeups. George Armenta from Silver Spring, Maryland, against Angel Gonzalez from Puerto Rico. El Gallo, the Rooster. George Armenta.
Better than El Polo, the chicken.
That is true. If you're going to be a foul, he might as well be a rooster. This fight is underway in the ballroom. I mean, George Armenta, the only man we have seen put Yuri Foreman down, the unbeaten Yuri Foreman. Happened right here in the ballroom. Unfortunately for George Armenta, that was his high point, happened in the first round. George Armenta punches with a lot of power. We heard John Scheinman mention that. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds tonight in the ballroom. George Armenta from nearby Silver Spring, Maryland. Happens to be yours truly's hometown.
You're a local boy, aren't you?
Local boy makes good, Jon Saraceno. Remember that.
And you certainly have.
Actually, you can see right now, these guys very similar in styles. Both want to work the jab. Think about George Armenta in that fight with Yuri Foreman. He had him down early, and just a touch of inexperience. Wasn't able to close the door. Amateur record for George Armenta, 150-25. I mean, that is a deep, deep amateur record.
That is extensive.
Gonzalez with an amateur career himself, 68-9.
Gonzalez being very cautious here in the first round, letting Armenta lead.
Again, this fight is scheduled for 6 rounds here in the ballroom.
And it's got distance written all over it, at least early on.
The wager is here. You are not correct, Jon Saraceno.
Okay. Let him out easy. That'll be dinner at the Palm, right?
Well, yeah, if I win, yes.
And if I win, Mickey D's.
There you go.
That's what I thought.
George Armenta showing some good movement in the ring. He's improved that a little bit, moving around the ring. Armenta in the white trunks. In the green, Angel Gonzalez. Last time in the ring for George Armenta was July of 2002. TKO victor in Washington, D.C. The fight before that was the Yuri Foreman fight back in March of this year, right here in the ballroom. Just the way this fight is unfolding here, you see Gonzalez has his hands held low at times. Is Armenta giving him too much respect, John?
No, I think Armenta's been really taking the initiative here in the first round. But Gonzalez does have a long reach. I don't think he's used it all that effectively, at least early on. Good shot underneath by Gonzalez.
Armenta just missed with the right hand. Hit the shoulder of Gonzalez. That was a power shot. Right hand by Armenta connects, and Gonzalez's legs are rubbery. Armenta senses it as round 1 comes to a close. Strong finish to round 1 for George Armenta. Ballroom boxing continues in a moment. Looking back to action in round 1, George Armenta. Watch the right hand from George Armenta. Actually, that was not the right hand we saw at the end of the round, but in fact, a good scoring blow by George Armenta. There it is, right there. Yes, patience, my friend, patience. Good work by our technical crew here tonight, and I've got to give them the props. This is our 8th season of Ballroom Boxing, and without Rudy and the guys, this would be impossible. Big right hand by George Armenta. Body shot by George Armenta. Pounding away, Armenta says he was hit low.
Looks like I better get that number for reservations at the Palm.
Armenta beginning to bring the heat. The right hand landing repeatedly.
Wow. Gonzalez got nailed to start that second round.
Boy, it really slowed him down too, John. Now Armenta has been in this ball. Oh, another big right hand by George Armenta, but Gonzalez keeps coming. I don't know how many of those he can take, to be honest with you.
He's got a terrific chin. Armenta's landed 3 clean shots, and Gonzalez keeps walking him forward.
I like George Armenta's style. You know, he does have a couple losses to his credit. I think this guy could go somewhere in boxing. He's 5-2, and it's not just because he's from my hometown, Silver Spring, Maryland. I think he throws serious, serious bombs.
The question is, how's Gonzalez going to get back in this fight? He's doing too much standing in front of Armenta. He needs to get a lot busier with that jab. He's posing.
This round has been a turnaround round for George Armenta, completely taking the play away from Angel Gonzalez.
Gonzalez looks totally befuddled in there as what to do.
Good movement from George Armenta, too. Does his damage and moves away. Want to welcome the folks from WJFK listening in. Great to have WJFK on board again for Ballroom Boxing. George Armenta in the white trunks, in the green, Angel Gonzalez. Armenta in the center of the ring, scores with a body shot.
Armenta going downstairs there very nicely, Larry. He's been going top, down, sideways, everywhere. Gonzalez really getting another right hand by Armenta.
Right hand, and down goes Gonzalez. You could see that coming back in round 2.
Well, at least I'll be eating well.
Gonzalez is in deep trouble. Chevalier lets it go. Armenta with one punch could end it.
It looks like it's a matter of time, Larry.
Nice combination. Another right hand by Armenta, putting the pressure on Gonzalez, who is not fighting back, catches a left. Right up above us now, a left-right combination by Armenta. In the closing moments of this round, will he survive? He's holding on nicely. I think he's going to make it through the round.
Kenny Chevalier, the referee, watching very closely. He made it.
Armenta put some serious heat on Angel Gonzalez here in the ballroom. More action to come. Action from round 2. Here is the right hand.
Right in the whiskers.
Man, he just hammered that right hand home, and Gonzalez somehow managed to get up and survive the round.
Pure guts and instinct.
Quickly to Jon Scheinman, you got a serious lead for Armenta, I would believe.
Well, yes, of course, 20-17. He gets a 10-8 with that round. The only kind of guys that give George Armenta a lot of trouble are fast-handed sharpshooters who have a lot of movement. Angel Gonzalez is not one of those guys. He's standing right in front of George Armenta and taking the power shots. And as I said before the fight, Armenta is very heavy-handed. He's showing it here, Larry.
All right, Jon Scheinman. Armenta in the white trunks. He put Gonzalez down with the right hand in round 2.
Gonzalez has almost looked in awe or almost intimidated throughout this fight. Just has really been unable to get untracked offensively. And of course, Armenta, very good boxer puncher.
Gonzalez taking needless punishment right now. Kenny Chevalier on the scene, does the right thing. The end of this fight comes in round 3. TKO victory for George Armenta. The corner of Gonzalez protesting, but good stoppage by Kenny Chevalier. Stopped it at the right time.
He did. You know, he was looking very closely in the second round at possibly stopping the fight, and I was glad to see he didn't stop it then. But Gonzalez there was backed up, Larry, into the ropes and was almost out on his feet and defenseless, and he was going to get really hurt by Armenta. Good job by the referee.
And good job by George Armenta, finishing the job that he started in round 2. Armenta runs his record now to 6-2. That is his 5th win by knockout.
We're going to have a replay here in the 3rd round when the fight was stopped. Armenta misses with the left hook. Kind of a glancing right hand, but then went downstairs. And there you see the fatigue setting in, and Gonzalez just trying to find a place to hide, really. A good stoppage by referee Kenny Chevalier.
Real good stoppage by Kenny Chevalier as the end comes in round 3. George Armenta, a winner by TKO victory. And it's funny how a punch or a combination can change the flow of a fight. But in round 2, when George Armenta put Gonzalez down, you knew at that point, John, it would only be a matter of time before he took him out.
Armenta started out kind of slowly, and but picked up the pace very nicely. When he started landing that big right hand, it was all over.
George Armenta victorious tonight in the ballroom. To make it official, here's Pat O'Malley.
The winner by TKO at 154 of round 3, George Agaiso, the Rooster Armenta.
George Armenta, the winner by way of knockout in the 3rd round. Impressive performance from George Armenta from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Like we said, he's a very good puncher, great power in both hands, and he can box too. That's a lethal combination.
More ballroom boxing coming up after a timeout. Don't go away. Welcome back to the ballroom. Here is how it ended moments ago. George Armenta with Gonzalez up against the ropes. Had him down in round 2, and he finished the job here in round 3.
Well, by this point, Larry, the damage had already been done. Armenta had landed those big right hands, and Gonzalez was exhausted at that point.
Armenta victorious in the 3rd round, and he's standing by with Jon Scheinman. Jon?
George, I think I've seen all the fights in your career, but I said to myself after this one was stopped, this might have been your best performance ever. Why don't you rate it for us?
I believe so. It is my best performance. We've been working in the gym so hard to be smooth and compact and just as swift as I can, and it shows. And I'm glad it showed tonight, and it's going to show better and better, more and more improvement every time I come out.
So your trainer, Sergeant Charles Mooney, was working on what?
Yes.
Shortening up your shots, getting your more power behind them? What are the things you work on specifically?
Specifically is conditioning. With my condition on top of his game, it's hard to beat me. If you cannot beat me, you're going down, you're going out. I don't like leaving it up to the judges. Therefore, you know, it's just like having knockouts.
Coming into this fight, we talked about your punching power. It seemed to us that Angel Gonzalez pretty much stayed in your power alley. Was it that easy?
Well, my power was anywhere. You know, inside, outside. If I hit you, it hurts. And I try to, you know, combine as many hard punches as I can. And, you know, well, they'll fall eventually.
We consider you a top prospect coming out of the ballroom here. Well, I'm curious to know where you think you stand in your career right now.
My career, I want rematches. To those guys that have 2 losses, 2 defeats from, they will not beat me. If they come see me again, they'll happen just the same. Just the same. And I'll guarantee that.
Yuri Foreman, you're one of those guys. We saw you here in March in the ballroom with George Armenta. Maybe Scott Wagner can get you back down here. But right now, George Armenta rolling. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and John.
All right, good job, Jon Scheinman. George Armenta in the 3rd round. The destruction of Gonzalez. Angel Gonzalez down in round 2. Knocked out, actually a TKO in round 3. Here is how the action unfolded. This was the knockdown in round 2, John.
Well, a snapping right hand. You see Gonzalez going down on his backside. You know what? And I would love for the promoters, Scott Wagner and Mike Wagner, to make a rematch with Yuri Foreman. That's a fight I think everybody would love to see and should happen.
We'd like to see that. Coming up more ballroom boxing from here at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Don't go away. As we have a break in the action here in the ballroom, want to welcome Bobby Ehrlich, running for governor in the state of Maryland.
I have my priorities in order. Debate, down to Glen Burnie, watch the fights.
There you go. And you tell me that you have boxing in your background,
I got
Bobby.
boxing in my background, my dad's background. My dad was an amateur, pretty good. And till his mom found out. I'm a junior, so his name is Robert L. Ehrlich Sr., and he boxed under the name of Mickey Morgan.
How about that? You know, boxing and sports in general is so important to the folks in the state of Maryland. Being a Marylander myself, growing up in Silver Spring, the Terps coming off a huge year. You have to be proud as a resident of the state to live where there's the national championship basketball team.
Well, in fact, Coach Williams hosted an event for us last week. Terrific guy. We're going to make golf the official sport, by the way, in the state of Maryland. And Coach Williams and the new governor are going to be playing golf a lot this spring, I guarantee you, after another national championship.
Well, you know, sports are so important, and I guess as you look ahead to your perspective, opportunity to be governor of the state of Maryland, athletics and physical fitness, something I'm sure you have in mind.
Well, athletics was a difference in my life. Like a lot of working class kids, I was a good football player, and I was given opportunities in life because of athletics, particularly football. Got me into high school, college. I was captain of the Princeton's football team, and I was a graduate assistant in law school. So athletics is a very important part of my life.
You know, the atmosphere here in the ballroom. First time you're here?
Second time I've been here. Senator Wagner's been trying to get me back for a long time. This is great. What a great atmosphere watching these great athletes.
It really is. Bobby Ehrlich, running for governor in the state of Maryland. What do you like most about the ballroom?
you're close. The action is right here. But I brought my wife tonight, and she's not a boxing fan, and I wanted her to appreciate what kind of fine athletes are in that ring. And she's not a great boxing fan. When I have it on at home, and of course you'll be talking to the Lieutenant Governor, who's got a real boxing connection.
I heard about that.
Mike
yes,
Steele, with a big-time guy.
Yes, indeed.
But I wanted Kendall to see what kind of finely tuned, great shape athletes these guys really are.
Bobby, we wish you all the best, and most importantly, we appreciate you coming to the Ballroom.
It's my pleasure being here.
Bobby Ehrlich running for governor here in the state of Maryland. More Ballroom boxing coming up in a timeout. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno. This between us is a very recognizable face of boxing impresario, J.D. Brown. How are you, my friend?
How you doing, my friend? How are you? How are
JD,
you?
good to see you,
Well,
man.
it's kind of funny here. Both Jon Saraceno and myself have partnered with J.D. during a telecast. Tonight, J.D. is going to sit in for the Dingling Man, Darnell Wilson, and Eric Starr. Dingling Man has a huge following here, J.D.
He has a tremendous following. This guy has almost become a cult here. Everybody loves him, and they love to hear the Dingling Man song.
Yeah, we'll see if he rings the bell of Eric Starr tonight like he did last time. Let's go to the ring for the intros and Pat O'Malley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for more Ballroom Boxing. Your referee in charge of the 6th-round bout is Gary Campaneschi. Judging the fight, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First to my left, out of the red corner, weighing 180 3/4 pounds. He comes to us from Hillsborough, North Carolina. His record, 7-8, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Eric Hollywood Starr. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the solid black trunks. He weighed in at 179.5 pounds from Silver Spring, Maryland. His record, 8-1-1, 8 KOs. Please welcome Darnell, the Dingling Man Wilson.
It's the Dingling Man against Eric Starr, the former Chicago Bear. Here's Jon Saraceno with the matchup.
Well, we're looking at the numbers, Larry. You see they're pretty even. A little bit of a reach advantage for Darnell Wilson. Also 5 years younger than Eric Hollywood Starr.
And J.D. Brown fills me in on the background of Mr. Starr.
And Mr. Starr said he's really a star. He played with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Played running back.
Interesting.
How about that? And played for the Chicago Bears subsequent to that.
He said he was backup behind Neil Anderson.
Really?
That came directly from Eric Starr.
Well, there you go. Let's see if he can overcome his last loss to Darnell Wilson. This is not football. Obviously, very little padding for these guys, except south of the border, as they say.
But watch out, he might make Dingling Man fumble tonight.
Yeah. So we'll see. Dingling Man has put together a pretty good streak, and obviously one look at the Dingling Man, you can see that this man is trained, powerfully built, light heavyweight, and this fight is underway. As we mentioned, these guys are no strangers to each other. They fought last time in the Ballroom. Dingling Man coming away with the victory. A southpaw. Darnell Wilson has had 2 fights since his TKO victory over Eric Starr in March of this year. Both of those TKO victories. And both of those coming here in the Ballroom. So you look at a guy like Darnell Wilson, J.D. Brown, how long can he, I don't want to say how long can he fight competition like Eric Starr? This is the appropriate fight for him right now?
Well, I think he's almost ready to move up in the competition. If I were him, I would start trying to gradually move him up in the competition. Because he's a type of puncher. He has a shot with anybody who's in there with him. You match him with the right guy.
Got that power that you really can't teach, much like another man we saw here a few years ago, Mr. KO, Julian Little, a big overhand right by Darnell Wilson.
Darnell Wilson has pretty quick hands as well.
He does, and the question with Eric Starr is his chin. He was stopped here a year ago by Derek Whitley in 2 rounds, and Whitley is not the biggest puncher. In fact, he's been stopped, I think, about 5 or 6 times there, at least 5.
Eric Starr, though, doing the right thing. Last time out was his fight with Darnell Wilson. And he said immediately after that fight, I want the Dingling Man again.
his pace is going to be ringing the bell again.
May be sorry he asked for him.
Sometimes you get what you ask for.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds.
I mean, can you imagine, JD, somebody asking to fight this guy again?
Maybe he was still unconscious from the last fight.
Well, you know, Darnell Wilson is raw. He's got a lot of punching power, but he is raw. And so if you're a boxer who has lost to him, you got to figure, well, you know, if I fight a different style and maybe a little different strategy, I can stay away from the power. And that looks like what Ehrlich Starr is trying to do here, JD, trying to stay away using the jab and staying away from the right hand of the Dingling man.
I saw Joe Pollard a little earlier, the manager for Ehrlich Starr. He said that was their strategy. He said they were going to try to box and move this time, but he's got to move his feet. He's still standing too stationary.
Big left hand by the Dingling man. He rings the bell, and Ehrlich Starr holding on. A lot of time left. Literally hanging on right now. Big left hand! Goes down hard on his face.
That's a knockout.
Fight's over.
That's a knockout.
Devastating power shown by Darnell Wilson, the Dingling man. Could he be more impressive, John?
Well, I tell you what, those shots were coming so fast. He just totally overwhelmed Ehrlich Starr. The last time Ehrlich Starr got into the 6th round, I think Wilson wanted to show that his power was going to be too much. He just overwhelmed Starr, and Starr was going to try to get him into a boxing match, but Wilson wasn't going to allow it.
JD, Ehrlich Starr is a little upset at the stoppage. I don't see why.
Well, I think he didn't realize how hard that punch came, because when he got hit, he got knocked out, and the next punch woke him back up before he hit the ground.
You're right.
JD, I think he's got those little Tweety birds circling around his head.
He's knocked out right there.
Yep.
He bounces back up. He gets hit again and wakes back up.
That's instinct. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
He fell face forward.
He fell face forward, a facial for Ehrlich Starr.
That's a vicious knockout and a good stoppage.
That's a very good stoppage.
Dingling man right above us.
We don't need to
that
tell
was
you.
Some KO.
We don't need to tell you that the crowd likes the Dingling man here in the ballroom. No doubt about that.
Stay away from us.
Darnell Wilson victorious.
That was some shot, and that was some cleanup shot, as JD talked about.
JD, of course, your days with Sugar Ray Leonard go way, way back. You've seen all kinds of fighters. How good could this kid be?
I think this kid has a lot of potential. He's a mini Mike Tyson. He's got the look like Mike Tyson, the punching power like Mike Tyson, and he has the electricity for the crowd like Mike Tyson. So he has a lot of Mike Tyson in him, and I think he could be a star.
And he's got a great attitude. He's willing to work. He realizes he's relatively raw as a fighter. He just brings a great work ethic. And you see here, Starr just getting hit with that left hook. That was a cleanup shot. Face first on the canvas.
Oh, my goodness.
Ouch.
You know, if you had an opportunity to talk to Dingling man, he's a very articulate and intelligent young man.
Really is. Into computers. He's got a career outside of boxing.
Right.
But you know what? He's got a future in boxing as well. Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the official time.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout at 154 of round 1, Darnell, the Dingling Man Wilson.
The Dingling man in the ring right now, along with local light heavyweight Dana Rucker, and I believe Dana Rucker is going to offer a challenge right here, right now. How about this?
Great. The music, awesome. But you ain't ready. You not ready. Trust me. You ain't. We want you, baby. Hey, hey. We want you. Who gets dropped and gets up and win? Who stays sharp? Who never gives up? He ain't ready. Trust me. I lied to you not. Right name.
The Dingling man
is not ready.
doing what he thinks would happen.
Give him 3
He
more
took
years
on
and he's
Dana
ready.
Rucker.
And it's an interesting fight because Dana Rucker is a pretty good boxer. He's got a very suspect
That, of
chin,
course,
we
is
know.
Dana Rucker, ladies
But
and gentlemen.
if he gets hit, you see the two
I
fighters.
think he wants a bout
it's a
with
fight
the
they could
Dingling
make here.
Man.
It's a fight we hope happens in the fall.
This is real, folks. This is not staged. This is not hype. It is real.
Stay
Dana Rucker
tuned. It
coming
could
out
happen
and
in
calling out
November,
the Dingling
ladies and
Man
gentlemen.
after the knockout win. J.D. Brown, want to thank you for stopping by. It's been special, buddy.
Thank you, fellas. This has been a treat to get to see the Dingling Man before and after the bell rings.
How about that? We are back in a moment in the ballroom. Don't you dare go away. We are back to the ballroom where moments ago, I mean, I tell you, quite a sight. Darnell Wilson, the Dingling Man, victorious by first-round knockout over Ehrlich Starr. Taking a look at what happened. Dingling Man shows the power that he has at that light heavyweight division.
Well, there goes that left hand that put down Ehrlich Starr. Falling face forward, he's going to get hit again, clipped with a left hook. As you said, a facial scrub on the ballroom boxing canvas.
Oh, man. Painful, just a painful knockout as we saw Darnell Wilson annihilate Ehrlich Starr in the first round. You know, Jon Scheinman standing by with the Dingling Man after the fight. It was Dana Rucker calling out the Dingling Man, wanting him next. What does the Dingling Man have to say about that and the victory? Let's go to Jon Scheinman.
Darnell, the last time you fought Eric Scott, as soon as the bout ended, he called you out for a rematch. Obviously not a good idea.
Yeah, I was a little shocked that he did that. It was quite a beating that he took, but he was very game, and he kept coming back at me. But I felt in the first fight, my punches were kind of telegraphed. I didn't hit him with a nice short shot like I did tonight. But, you know, unlike other fighters that didn't give me that one fake blemish I had on my career, you know, the guy definitely didn't give me a rematch. So I fought the one guy that beat him and knocked him out. But Ehrlich Starr, I take my hat off to him because at least he fought me, but other guys did not.
Were you sharper this fight, or had you just figured him out from the first fight?
No, I was just a whole hell of a lot sharper than last time. My punches, that's all I worked on all summer long. It's short, crisp shots.
Now, right after the fight, Dana Rucker, who people who've watched ballroom boxing over the years have seen in a lot of action-packed fights, climb into the ring and attempted to steal your thunder, and he also called you out. A little aggravated to see him upstage your victory?
I'm happy to see him come in the ring. That's an honor because he's known to be the best light heavyweight in this area. You know, and I feel without question that I will beat this guy, either by outboxing him or outpunching him. Likely I'll knock him out, you know, but I can box too. But it has to be for the Maryland title to see who is the best fighter here. I'm convinced that I am.
I'd like to say something to
Sergeant Charles Mooney is trainer.
Dana Rucker, in your honor.
Well, that's without a Somonex, but I guess they think Darnell Wilson's going to put Dana Rucker to sleep. We're gonna look forward to that fight. Hopefully it'll be here in the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and John.
Well, you know what? This just in, Jon Saraceno has a scoop.
They are going to fight in November. Promoter Scott Wagner has already made the match, and this is a fight that has been in the works. That's why he was in the ring. But I'm not sure both fighters realize it's a done deal. So we hope to see that fight. Dana Rucker is a very good boxer with a very suspect chin. Wilson, you can see his power. You got to believe Darnell Wilson is going to be a favorite in this fight. But Dana Rucker's experience, don't sell him short.
Something to look forward to in the ballroom. Darnell Wilson, the Dingling Man, victorious again. More to come from the ballroom. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Before we look ahead to the main event, quite a show put on by the Dingling Man, John.
Well, Darnell Wilson, we know what kind of tremendous power he has. He exhibited that again this evening. As long as he stays on his P's and Q's in the gym, continues to learn how to fight and become more experienced, he's got a bright future.
Well, we've made our way up here to the perch in the ballroom to get you set for the main event tonight. It is Lamont Pearson, formerly #1 ranked at the junior lightweight class, going up against Louisa Lizarraga. Before we hear more about Pearson, John, Pearson has a mountain to climb. He was once the #1 ranked junior lightweight in the world, had a title shot within his grasp. He lost it. He wants that back desperately.
He looked very bad in that fight last spring. He's come back and since posted a win, got some confidence back. but Lizarraga is a spoiler. His last 2 victories, big knockouts against undefeated opponents. He knows he can't play Lizarraga cheap.
Lamont Pearson, a very interesting individual. Let's watch more on Lamont Pearson.
Pearson, a former USBA champion and #1 IBF contender, is on a fast track back to a title shot. First, he must beat a very dangerous fighter, Louisa Lizarraga. Fasten your seatbelts to the junior lightweight eliminator. As a national Golden Glove champion, Pearson has been in the spotlight long before he debuted as a pro. The family man from Capitol Heights balances his full-time job at the post office with his pursuit of a world title.
My wife, Arvin, she's putting up with me through all this, so I'm working hard, baby, to get us there. With the Lord on our side, my son Lamont Jr., my baby girl, Erin.
A 10-1 rising star, Pearson had an impressive showing at his first fight in the Ballroom.
Stone and Jones, that right hand at the end of the second round, I took that. I said, young man, you're going to be a champion one day. I mean, that's something small, but that was my first hard shot I took. And if you look at the tape closely, I took it well.
Pearson's lifelong friend, Jermaine Fields, undefeated with a record of 21-0, had what he thought to be a routine tune-up fight. Then came Lizarraga. He surprised everyone.
But Jermaine, he was on his game, he was winning the fight. He just got caught with the right hand, and I don't think he recovered. I don't think he was in that situation ever before, but my thinking, I learned from that. In that situation, I think he should have moved a little bit more. He went right back and slugged with the guy and got caught again.
Fast forward to March 2002. Holding the USBA and NABA belts, Pearson was the #1 ranked IBF contender when disaster struck. During a tune-up fight, Pearson lost a close decision to Orlando Salido. He lost his #1 ranking and his shot at the title.
I think about it every day. That gives me the drive and what I call the second half of my career, because I was right there knocking on the door. And I feel like, no one answered. Now I'm trying to figure out why. I had everything. The management team was great, took the hard road, straight to the top, and I was right there. But you can't win every fight.
Will the postman from Capitol Heights deliver, or will Louisa Lizarraga launch another upset? Get ready for the junior lightweight eliminator. The battle in the Ballroom.
Well, John, obviously Lamont Pearson has a lot going for him. What do you think is going to happen in this fight tonight?
This is a fight that Lamont Pearson should really be able to show his skills as an up-and-coming fighter. Lizarraga, very tough customer. It's not going to be easy to get him out of there, but I think he could box his way to a victory, Lamont Pearson.
We'll be right back with more Ballroom Boxing.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Winella, along with the Commissioner at ringside, Phil Feaster, and Ballroom Boxing promoters Scott and Michael Wagner, matchmakers Chris Middendorf and Josh Hall present this 10-round bout in the junior lightweight division. Judging the bout are Bill Holmes, Kenny Chevalier, and Don Risher. Your scorekeeper is John Gradowski, and the man in charge in the ring is referee Malik Waleed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Ballroom Boxing main event. This 10-round bout in the junior lightweight division. Introducing the boxers, first to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the blue and white trunks, weighing 131.5 pounds. He is from Orange County, California, via Mexico. His record, 31, 26-3, 23 KOs. He is currently ranked #3 by the U.S. Boxing Association. Please welcome Louisa Lizarraga. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, he weighs 132 pounds. He is from Capitol Heights, Maryland. His record, 18-1-1, 11 via the KO. He is ranked number 4 by the U.S. Boxing Association. Please welcome Lamont Bay Pearson.
Lamont Bay Pearson looking to get back in the top 10. Jon Saraceno with a look at the matchup.
Well, the numbers are fairly even. They speak for themselves. Basically, what this fight is going to come down to is heart and boxing skill. We're going to see who's got more of both.
So much on the line for Lamont Pearson here tonight. A record of 18-1-1. Though he is 31 years old, John, he was the #1 ranked contender in the world in the junior lightweight class. After suffering that loss, he has dropped, of course. The loss to Orlando Salido in Arizona, an 11th round, a 10th round decision, I should say. So a big night tonight for Lamont Pearson. He needs a win to move up the ladder. We are underway. Pearson and Lizarraga in the ring.
We're underway without the benefit of a bell. That doesn't happen too often.
You need that bell, don't you, to get started?
That's how I know when it starts.
I know. That's your wake up in the morning. You got it on a bell. Ding, ding, Saraceno is up. And we are underway, round 1 here in the ballroom. Want to welcome those listening in on WJFK tonight. Thanks for coming on board the Ballroom Boxing Trail. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno, Lizarraga in the blue trunks. Lamont Bay Pearson in the black trunks. And this is a big fight for both men. Most importantly for Lamont Pearson. He was right in line for a title shot, John, and it slipped away.
It was a very unimpressive performance against Orlando Salido in March. He lost a 10-round decision, was never really in the fight. Very flat in that fight. Again, he had a chance to make a title match against Steve Forbes. That went out the window.
Lamont Pearson from Capitol Heights, Maryland. Lizarraga living in California now, but from Mexico originally. See Lamont Pearson now moving around the ring. This fight is scheduled for 10 rounds here in the ballroom.
Lizarraga has been matched very tough since coming to the United States in 1999, facing 8 undefeated U.S. fighters. So I don't know who his manager is, but the guy is not doing him any favors. He's only won 2 fights during that time by spectacular knockout. Jermaine Fields and Toncho Tonchev last year.
John, you look at the record of Lizarraga and it really belies his abilities, doesn't it?
Well, it's hard. I mean, he's a better fighter than his record would indicate, but he fought for so long in Mexico against really unknown opposition. The record you could just about throw out the window. Doesn't mean anything. But he's really been unable to beat quality opposition with a couple of dramatic exceptions.
Well, Toncho Tonchev was a world-ranked fighter moving up the ladder. And knocked him out in the 6th round.
He has been a spoiler, but you see him get eaten up there on the outside by Pearson. And Pearson has fine boxing ability. He will do that.
A lot on the line tonight for Lamont Pearson. Here in the ballroom.
If Lamont Pearson's the real deal, he should be able to win this fight and win it handily. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but if he's authentic contender at junior lightweight, this is a fighter he should be able to handle.
Good first round for Lamont Pearson, scoring from a distance. Round 1 coming to a close. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. This is Ballroom Boxing. Round 2 underway here in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. John Scheinman, as always, is with us. Lamont Bay Pearson, so much on the line for him, John Scheinman, tonight.
Well, I thought he won the first round, Larry, but the key to what he's doing right here is very relaxed. Louisa Lizarraga always comes on in the middle rounds after fighters have just pounded him for the first 4 or 5 or 6. That's what happened in the Jermaine Fields fight. Lizarraga came on in the middle of that fight and stopped him. Lamont Pearson doesn't look like he's going to fall into that trap so far. He's fighting very relaxed, and that's going to be a key in the later rounds.
All right, John, this fight is scheduled for 10 rounds. And obviously, Louisa Lizarraga, the veteran that he is, would like to see this go some rounds. What kind of fight do you think is in the game plan of Lamont Pearson, Jon Saraceno?
Well, he's stalking him right now and using his superior hand speed and putting punches in combination together. And Lizarraga's not moving his head at all. He's a very stationary target. It looks like we may already have some kind of a swelling. Maybe on Lizarraga, a little bit of redness there.
You know, I saw Lizarraga in the hotel this afternoon, and he has some swelling around his eyes before the fight.
You're right. When he got off the elevator.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you know, it's one of those things where if Lamont Pearson hits him in the right place, you do see some swelling right on the right cheekbone of Louisa Lizarraga. And when you're a veteran who's been around as long as Lizarraga, even though he is a year younger than Lamont Pearson, which is really the dichotomy here, John. Lizarraga, a professional since 1987. Pearson, a professional since 1998. But Pearson, the older man.
Lizarraga fighting since 1987. May take him a little while to get warmed up. John Scheinman's right. He comes on in the middle of the later rounds with relentless pressure.
But look at Lamont Pearson, John. He's got his hands held high. He throws the jab. He throws it with some power behind it. Throws the right hand. Has good movement.
He's a classic boxer.
He really is a good-looking boxer, Lamont Pearson. And he's blocking every shot that Lizarraga throws off the gloves, off the forearms. I mean, you can see why Lamont Pearson is a world-ranked fighter.
He's legit. That left hook did not land by Lizarraga. Picked off again.
I'm not so sure Lizarraga has scored a punch in this fight. Now, Lamont Pearson has scored some, has not hurt Lizarraga.
I'm not so sure.
Big right hand hurts Lizarraga, and Pearson with the best punch of this fight.
Buckled Lizarraga.
Closing moments. Good jab by Lizarraga. Overhand right by Lamont Bay Pearson. The power of Pearson showing through here in round 2. More ballroom boxing coming up. Looking back to action from round 2, Lamont Pearson. There was the punch that shook Louisa Lizarraga.
And that wasn't the only one. He buckled Lizarraga's legs 3 times in that round.
Round 2 underway. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. John Scheinman with us as well. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. This is Ballroom Boxing. For more information on Ballroom Boxing, upcoming events, and merchandise, as well as the best of Ballroom Boxing, check us out on the web, www.ballroomboxing.com.
Lizarraga needs to get some respect in this round. He's got to show Lamont Pearson that he can't just walk right through him. And I don't know if Lizarraga has a big enough punch to really discourage Lamont Pearson. It's going to have to be a volume of punches. The problem is he's not able to outbox Pearson from the outside, so he can only land a punch here and a punch there.
The thing about Louisa Lizarraga is he knows how to go the distance. And why it says Ruiz on his trunks, we do not know.
Well, he's doing something smart here. He's trying to jab Pearson instead of just trying to throw power punches, wing left hooks and right hands.
See some swelling around both eyes of Louisa Lizarraga. Lamont Pearson content to fight from the outside. You see Lizarraga continue to grind forward.
Pearson is just 2 or 3 beats faster than Lizarraga. Foot speed and hand speed, and Lizarraga cannot find the target, at least not consistently, and that is the difference in the fight.
Nice combination by Louisa Lizarraga.
Those weren't all scoring blows. Some of those were picked off by Pearson's gloves.
More for the inactivity of Lamont Pearson than the precision of the punches of Louisa Lizarraga.
Well, he covered up well there.
Good body shot with the left hand causes Pearson to cover up, John.
And Pearson in those first 2 rounds was going downstairs. In fact, got a warning at one point from referee Malik Walid about hitting low. But I think that was a borderline situation.
Well, Lamont Pearson is such a good precision fighter. Has his hands high. I mean, eyes clear, eyeballing the opposition. Louisa Lizarraga keeps moving forward. We knew this would be a good fight. Good body work by Lizarraga. Lamont Pearson covering up.
A nice left hand on the inside by Pearson, thrown so quickly, so swiftly, and so lethally. Lamont Pearson has learned his trade very well. You can see he is a schooled fighter. He is one of the best, really pound-for-pound fighters we've had in the Ballroom Boxing Series over the years.
Really have. Round coming to a close. Pretty good round for Louisa Lizarraga. Lamont Pearson has his moments as well. More Ballroom Boxing coming up in a moment. Round 4 underway here in the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman with us as well through 3 rounds. Jon, how do you look at this fight?
Well, I have it a shutout, 30-27 for Lamont Pearson. I didn't think either of the fighters did that much work in the last round. I thought Pearson has looked relaxed in this fight, but maybe a little too relaxed. I'd like to see him get busier. Lizarraga just seems a little listless, and I would test him a little more. If he hasn't brought his A game tonight, why not get him out of there instead of going the distance? I'd like to see Pearson. He looks like he's in good condition. Put a lot of pressure on. If you can't get rid of him, back off and box.
You know, Jon Saraceno, Louisa Lizarraga has 23 knockouts to his credit. Is that something that Lamont Pearson has to be concerned about?
Well, I think he's got to be concerned about being out-punched, except for I don't think he's going to be out-punched. I don't think Lizarraga, I mean, if he hits you and he hits you flush, yeah, he could hurt you. But between rounds, he looked like a guy who was a lot older than 30 years old on his stool. He fought a lot of years in Mexico. Rugged guy, he's going to keep coming forward. So we got a lot of rounds left here. 4th round, scheduled 10-rounder here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
So what you have is you have fight years and you have actual years. And the 30 years old that Louisa Lizarraga is might not be commensurate with his fight years.
Or vice versa. If he indeed was born in 1972, and he may have been, but he's looking a little bit old.
If you're Lamont Pearson, do you press the action a little bit more here?
I think Jon was right. I think that last round, Lamont got a little bit lazy because I think he had his way, you know, in the first 2 rounds fairly easy. But with a guy like this, you need to keep working on him. You need to keep wearing him down and take him seriously.
Lamont Pearson beginning to fire with some bad intentions here. This fight is scheduled for 10 rounds in the Ballroom. Nice little uppercut by Lamont Pearson. Well, Louisa Lizarraga, Jon Saraceno, as much as his experience comes into play, knows how to stay away, that's for sure.
Well, some fighters, if they don't want to be stopped or knocked out, they're not going to be. If he wants to fight a fight of survival at some point, if Lizarraga thinks, you know what, I can't beat this kid. He's too quick for me. He's too young. He's too fast. He can fight a fight of survival and just take his shots here and there.
Pearson trying to corner Lizarraga here. Lizarraga fighting out of the corner. Pearson scoring nicely to the body.
I think Pearson took a lot of starch out of Lizarraga early. And there you see Lizarraga's head not moving except for after he's hit. He's shook up, Larry.
Big right hand by Lamont Pearson as this round comes to a close. The right hand of Lamont Pearson finding the mark. More to come in the Ballroom in a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing action from round 4. Nice combination by Lamont Pearson.
He's used the jab effectively and he's hit his opponent with a lot of right hands.
Pearson and Lizarraga both weighed in at 131 pounds yesterday.
Triple left hook by Lamont Pearson. He's just wearing Lizarraga out right now.
Lizarraga in some trouble, eating some serious punishment right now from Lamont Pearson.
Well, what you have here is a world-ranked contender versus a journeyman club fighter. And we both know which is which. And what you're seeing now is talent wearing out heart. Good uppercut on the inside by Pearson.
Pearson's a total package, has punches from every angle. Looping left hand there connects. Lizarraga. Looks like he wants to sit down and fight. Maybe the wrong decision here tonight.
Well, this apparently is not the Louisa Lizarraga that showed up to knock out Jermaine Fields here 2 years ago, or Tancho Tanchev, who won a silver Olympic medal last year.
Maybe Lamont Pearson is not Jermaine Fields or Tancho Tanchev. Maybe that is the case.
That's true. He's a better fighter. He's proven to be a better fighter.
Lamont Pearson showing why he is a ranked fighter here against the veteran Louisa Lizarraga. I mean, Tancho Tanchev was a former Olympian, and Louisa Lizarraga took him out. Good body shot by Lizarraga there. A borderline call. Malik Walid offering the warning. Nice right-left combination by Lamont Pearson.
You know, in the past, Lamont Pearson has always been kind of a little bit of a cautious fighter early in his career, but he's really opened up nicely. He's learned his lessons, and he's pretty much the complete package right now. What you see is what you get from Lamont Pearson. And he's having his way here. He's having fun right now.
It really is. Tripling the jab. Lizarraga with very little to offer in resistance. He gets the warning from Malik Walid.
And let's see if Lizarraga gets desperate here and tries to use that head or some kind of fouling tactic.
I don't want to say he's being embarrassed, but he is being used right now by Lamont Pearson.
Well, he's totally outclassed by Lamont Pearson, who is just doing whatever he wants in the ring. If he wants to box him from the outside, he slices him up. If he wants to go inside and throw his rapid fire combinations, he's got the better of that. He's hit him with solid power punches and just dominated this fight. Got it a shutout unofficially on our scorecards. It's hard to imagine anything that Louisa Lizarraga could do at this point to get back into the fight. He's got to try to come up with something.
Closing moments of this round in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Lamont Pearson putting on a clinic. More to come. Here we go. Action from round 5. Lamont Pearson having his way with Louisa Lizarraga to the body and head. Round 6 underway. Want to bring in Jon Scheinman here. Lamont Pearson, just a workman-like performance so far, John.
Well, we've had detente in a court here all night, Larry, but I'm going to have to separate from you guys for a moment. I thought even though he lost the round, Lizarraga had his best round there. He really finally got into the fight. He got his hands going. He landed some vicious body shots on Lamont Pearson. They didn't shake him up or rock him or anything, but you could see that they hurt. I think Lizarraga's starting to warm up now. I disagree with you. I think he can get back into this fight. This is the time he usually makes his move, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did at all.
Well, I knew it would not last for long, my agreement with Jon Scheinman, but I have this fight as a whitewash in favor of Lamont Pearson. Lizarraga has done nothing offensively in this fight. What are your thoughts, Jon Saraceno?
Well, I agree with both of you, being the politician I am. I think what Jon is saying, of course, is that this is the point where Lizarraga gives fighters some difficulty, particularly if they've been carrying the fight and expending a lot of energy, and he saw some moments there where he actually hit Pearson. I don't think it's going to be enough, because I think Pearson's got so much boxing ability, and unless he's really spent his tank, I think he's going to have plenty just to outbox Lizarraga and win an easy decision.
I don't think he's spent his tank right now, though. As if on cue, Louisa Lizarraga performing his best moments of the fight.
I mean, basically, what I said was that I don't envision a scenario where Lizarraga could win, because I think he's going to have to stop Lamont Pearson. He may be able to do that. I just don't see that happening tonight.
Lizarraga certainly is set up for the long haul, has the experience and training to go the distance, the 10-round distance. Lamont Pearson, equally experienced, maybe not to the degree that Lizarraga is. But Pearson, look at him. I mean, he's not even breathing heavy right now, scoring with a left-right combination.
Lizarraga has been stopped 4 times since 1999, beginning with Angel Man Freddy.
Lamont Pearson fighting a very fine fight. In my estimation here, Lamont Pearson showing why he is the ranked fighter and showing why Lizarraga has the record that he has.
What did they say? The cream usually rises to the top. I think that's what we're seeing tonight.
And one thing I would agree with Jon Scheinman on is that Lizarraga is still here, and he still looks strong. So there is still danger ahead for Lamont Pearson. Though not in this round. The round coming to a close. I'm Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. More Ballroom boxing coming up from Glen Burnie, Maryland. Straight right hand by Lamont Pearson at the bell. More to come. Action from round 6. This fight is scheduled for 10 rounds. Lamont Pearson, the straight right hand from a distance, right down the pipe. And he follows with an uppercut. Lizarraga, good thing he's a veteran, Jon Saraceno. He knows how to roll with the punches.
He does, and he's been rolling with a lot of them tonight and getting caught flush with some other ones. I still have Lamont Pearson winning and winning handily. I haven't given Lizarraga a round.
Pearson isn't even breathing heavily right now. Very confined fighter, fighting within himself, not doing anything out of his game plan.
You just see the little movements that Pearson makes, how he uses his footwork to stay out of harm's way. Very subtle movement. He doesn't run around the ring as much as he does use the ring as a chessboard.
Lizarraga continues to move, certainly well conditioned, firing out the uppercut.
And he's been able to pin Lizarraga against the ropes. He's really hurt him, right? Exactly there, except for now. Well, I thought he was going to let him off the hook. Let's see if he tries to get him up against the ropes. He's done a lot of good damage.
Big uppercut by Lamont Pearson. Sprays the perspiration off the skull of Louisa Lizarraga. This fight just falling into Pearson's pace right now, John. The fight is at Pearson's pace, no doubt about that.
Well, the problem for Lizarraga is he's not going to win this battle from the outside. When he moves inside, Pearson is too quick for him and lands 3 punches to Lizarraga's 1. So how do you win the fight? You basically have to land 1 lucky shot. And I think that's Lizarraga's hope right now, and that's what he's trying to do.
Well, this fight right now has distance written all over it. As Lizarraga content to fight from a distance, continuing to pursue Lamont Pearson, who for the first time in this fight is up against the ropes.
Hasn't happened often. Pearson never in danger in this fight. Lizarraga's been wobbled at least 4 times.
Stop punching, stop punching.
Lizarraga taking a lot of punishment, Larry.
Sure is, John, right now. A really consistent beating Lamont Pearson is delivering right now. Another combination, back-to-back right hands right on the jaw of Louisa Lizarraga.
That was a sizzler.
Lizarraga right now is continuing to fight back. He is in no danger of being stopped, but he is being hammered by the right hand of Lamont Pearson.
Getting a little dirty here with the grappling and holding.
Fight winding down. Lizarraga and Pearson in the center of the ring. Nice combination by Lamont Pearson, peppering the dome of Lizarraga, and that is the end of the round. More Ballroom boxing coming up right after this. Looking back to action in round 7, Lamont Pearson dominated the action as he has. Look at that nice uppercut. Great camera work. Follows it with another right hand. Jon Scheinman, you got to tell me the truth now. Lamont Pearson way ahead in this fight.
Yeah, you guys got to let me retract that earlier statement. I mean, he seemed to come to life. I mean, this guy's a good body puncher, and he usually lets his hands go. This is, I have to tell you, this is an uninspired performance from Lizarraga. We've seen him before, Larry. He's an exciting fighter, and he takes advantage of the other fighters' mistakes. Maybe Pearson just hasn't made any here because he has looked absolutely dominant. And anytime Lizarraga seems to begin to get going a little bit, he's put right back in his place. I got a shutout.
I love to hear him make a retraction.
There you go.
He so infrequently has to do it, unlike me.
Jon Scheinman with the retraction. And Jon Saraceno, how do you have it scored to this point?
I got lots of 10s next to Pearson and a lot of 9s next to Lizarraga.
The question has to be, Lamont Pearson suffered the setback loss to Orlando Salido.
Good body work there by Lizarraga along the ropes, and Pearson quickly dances away. Smart move.
Pearson obviously a world-class fighter. The loss earlier this year to Salido set him back. How long before he can regain his position and possibly have a shot at a championship, John?
Well, he's got to continue to win, obviously. You know, it shouldn't be long. Of course, the way the organizations work, the world sanctioning bodies, you never know.
Lizarraga sitting down in the center of the ring, sitting down on his punches.
Rabbit punches by both fighters. Illegal. They both know it.
Lamont Pearson firing back with left hands.
You know, you'd think Lamont Pearson would be able to get Lizarraga out of here at some point, because he is hitting him with so many hard flush shots that if Pearson is a good puncher, Lizarraga, of course, he looks bent on surviving. Pride thing. Tough Mexican fighter, but still, I think Pearson should be able to stop him in the later rounds just based on fatigue, exhaustion, and, you know, attrition rate. Right hand, left hook by Pearson. Throws it nice and compactly.
Pearson has such good movement in the ring, always on balance. It's the guy that balance is the key for him. He's never off balance, throwing a punch or defensively.
Right. After he throws a punch, he's in position to catch a punch.
That comes from years of training and a lot of natural skill. A combination by Lamont Pearson, and he gets pile drived almost into the ring, into the apron.
Look like they're playing leapfrog.
And he gets tied up on that bottom strand. Lamont Pearson not used to tasting the canvas like that.
Lizarraga kind of pulled him forward, and Pearson lost balance as he kept moving down.
Good body shot by Lamont Pearson.
You see the swelling under the eyes of the Mexican-born fighter. He's taken a lot of punishment tonight from Lamont Pearson.
Good performance by Lamont Pearson. Is he pitching a shutout? Maybe close to it. More Ballroom boxing coming up after the timeout. Round 9 underway here in the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno for more information on Ballroom boxing. The next card here in the Ballroom, as well as merchandise and the best of Ballroom boxing. Log on www.ballroomboxing.com. 6 minutes to go in this fight. Lamont Pearson, Louisa Lizarraga. Lamont Pearson looking to climb his way back into title contention. And he's done a good job so far tonight, John.
He has. He's done what he needed to do against a journeyman fighter, and that is to dominate. And let's face it, Lizarraga does not want to be stopped. He's fighting for pride here. He knows he's way behind on points, and the one chance that he could land a haymaker that would turn the fight around instantly, which is highly unlikely at this point.
I'm going to bring John Scheinman in quickly. John, you followed the career of Lamont Pearson for many, many years. How far can this kid go?
You know, I've been thinking about his style in this fight and how it reflects on the rest of his career. I just can't be sure if this guy's got the right killer instinct to win a title, and I think that would be the lone drawback. I mean, I've seen him knock guys out, and he looks very impressive. He's got the power to do it, but does he really have the drive to just inhale a guy like Lizarraga? I mean, at this point, he's in such control. He's in great shape. Should he pitch to knock him out? I'm not really sure. I can't make that decision, and I wonder if that will cost him in a title fight down the line. But clearly, and I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging him, I think Lamont Pearson has all the tools to be a world champion.
Well said.
John Scheinman with maybe his most profound statement in history as Louisa Lizarraga is bullied to the corner by Lamont Pearson. What are your thoughts on that, John?
Well, and you just don't know until a fighter is put in that kind of a position how he's going to respond. But certainly Lamont Pearson has a lot of ability, and that will take you a long way. But at some point in the career, he's going to have to dig down in a real title fight or a fight where it's going to vault him to the #1 contender spot again. And he's going to have to show he really wants it. But you got to take your hat off to him tonight. He's done what he's needed to do.
Lizarraga up against the ropes, eating some lefts to the chin by Lamont Pearson. This fight has turned into a competition of conditioning, and Louisa Lizarraga is in great condition. He is still there, though taking punishment through 9 rounds thus far.
Well, give this to Lizarraga. He's still trying to win the fight. And that's why he keeps fighting a lot. Promoters use him because he comes to fight.
He is, John. I mean, right now, this is the same way he's fought the last 8-9 rounds. Doing the best he can. Doesn't look really beaten up too bad. Lamont Pearson scores are right.
You know, George Foreman was losing every round to Michael Moore until he landed that one shot, too.
That's exactly right. More to come. The 10th and final round is next in the ballroom. The 10th and final round. As Lamont Pearson and Louisa Lizarraga touch gloves with 3 minutes to go. Jon Scheinman, how do you have it scored?
90-81, Lamont Pearson, an absolute shutout, a complete dominant performance in every department, and he has kept Lizarraga from doing anything, Larry. Tremendous performance. He's got everything but a knockout, and he doesn't even need one.
Mr. Saraceno through 9. What's your score card say?
Shutout.
90-81. You concur with Mr. Scheinman? How dare you?
How dare I?
10th and final round. You know, the one thing here with Lamont Pearson, the question will be, why didn't you take him out? What do you think the answer is going to be, John?
That's a good question. I think, again, it's a case of Lizarraga having a lot of experience. And maybe Lamont Pearson not wanting to take the ultimate chance, feeling that I'm way ahead in the fight. I don't need to take a chance against this guy. This guy's already stopped Jermaine Fields and Tonchev. Why take a chance? But I don't know what his answer will be. I mean, tonight, Lizarraga refused to be knocked out. He got hit with some good shots. Shots that would have stopped some other fighters.
Well, we hope to find out. Lamont Pearson continues to wail away at the midsection of Louisa Lizarraga. Scores with a right hand. Lizarraga, though, still right there in the center of the ring, right in front of Lamont Pearson.
Now, see, Pearson's really turning over his right hand. He should be able to stop him, Larry, or have a good chance right now. He's hurt him.
If Lamont Pearson opens up, this is the 10th and final round.
He's so patient and such a tactician and so poised, he's still a little bit leery.
I mean, he fights within himself. That is not to his detriment, John.
He looked down at us. I was like, wave him on. You can stop this guy. He's there to be had.
Stop punching, stop punching, stop punching.
Pearson continues to push forward. Lizarraga continues to remain in the fight. Good overhand right by Lamont Pearson.
I mean, Pearson is teeing off like Lizarraga's head has Titleist stamped on it. He's driving it. But it looks like Lizarraga is going to survive. And Lamont Pearson, you might be able to call him a co-conspirator in that. I think Lamont Pearson, if he really wanted to get him out of there, he could do it.
Good work by Lizarraga, but really no damage being done.
Pearson's a nice little counterpuncher, too. He knows how to cover up and then fire the left hook.
I mean, he's got a lot of skill, John, no doubt about it. That's a reason why he was the #1 ranked junior lightweight in the world for a period there before his upset loss. And Lizarraga,
well, he's frustrated.
Showing a lot of frustration. Malik Waleed is going to take a point away from Louisa Lizarraga.
You know what? That's not a bad move because he had been warned many times in this fight for dirty tactics. And I think you got to protect the other fighter and do that. It's meaningless anyway at this point. He can't win unless he scores a knockout.
Strong performance by Lamont Pearson, who climbs atop the corner. He is happy about his performance. It would appear that he will move on to his 19th victory. We're going to find out officially when we come back. I'm Larry Michael, along with Jon Saraceno. More Ballroom Boxing coming up in a moment. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. By BallroomBoxing.com for the latest in ballroom boxing action and upcoming live events and season tickets. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing, a workmanlike performance by Lamont Pearson for sure, John.
Very impressive. But you know what? He needed to have that kind of a fight against a guy who's really a journeyman fighter in Louisa Lizarraga. Pearson's going to have tougher fights ahead, Larry.
Well, certainly everybody here in the ballroom thinks Lamont Pearson won the fight. Let's see if the judges agreed. Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards for the result. Judge Chevalier scores it 99-90. Judge Holmes scores it 98-91. Judge Risher scores it 100-89, and the winner by unanimous decision, Lamont Bay Pearson.
Dominating performance by Lamont Bay Pearson in the ballroom tonight. Winner on all scorecards, a dominating winner on all scorecards. And Jon Saraceno, you're looking at a guy who would like to be the #1 contender again tonight. How did he make his case tonight?
Well, he's going to have to do more against better competition because Lizarraga was overmatched tonight and superior talent took over.
Let's hear what Lamont Bay Pearson, the winner tonight, has to say. He's standing by with Jon Scheinman. Jon?
Lamont, was this fight tougher than it looked from ringside? Because you seem to just have complete command of him throughout. And then afterwards you said, this is a big one, this is a big one. How big and how tough was this fight with Lizarraga?
This is a big fight. I told you going into this was a tough guy. This guy takes a lot of punishment. As you see, I had him hurt on numerous occasions, but his recover power is tremendous. I was not getting into a gun until 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll work on that. But as far as it's concerned, that puts me right back in the line of things, taking on all comers.
Well, first thing, were you fighting a safety first or a tentative fight here, or was there any time you were trying to knock him out?
Throughout all my interviews, I'm going to take what he gives me. He has a hard head. Why go in there and rush? Look at his other fights. No one fought him like I did. Speed, pop shot, combinations. 8th, 9th, and 10th, it was questionable, but, you know, I'm still learning. There was a whole lot of anxiety in there, and I burned a lot of energy.
We've seen Lizarraga, like in the Jermaine Fields fight. I mean, he's a very busy puncher, particularly to the body. He never seemed to get off here. What particularly were you doing in the ring to neutralize him?
Well, going into the fight, you can't really base everything on Jermaine Fields because coming in here, he was virtually an unknown to us. He's proved himself with Jermaine and other fighters, David Santos, so I can't blame Jermaine. You know, we all human. If I was in the same position Jermaine was in, I probably would have did the same thing, try to take him out, looking at his upside-down record, and he got caught. That's boxing.
How relaxed were you coming into this fight? I mean, if you lose this fight somehow, you drop 2 or 3 at 31 years old. A lot of pressure on you to get back into the top of the rankings with a bout like this. Any pressure and nerves coming in?
First of all, if you're gonna be in this game, you're thinking about losing, you don't need to be in it. I prepared. I saw tapes. I told you this was a tough guy. I prepared tremendously for this fight. On top of my job, on top of spending time with my family, I'm dedicated. I love this sport. Let's bring it on. Let's bring it on, baby.
Okay,
Keystone boxing.
We got one more question for you here. What is the timetable, and what do you think it's going to take for you to get back in the title picture?
Well, you know, as you know, I lost in last March. At the end of this year, I'm looking for anyone in the top 5 in IBF. Hopefully by the same time I lost, within 12 months, that's going to put me right back in the line of things.
Lamont Pearson looking for a junior lightweight title shot. He'll take on anybody in the top 5 in the upcoming year. Let's see what happens. Back to ringside.
All right, thank you very much, Jon Scheinman and Lamont Pearson. Well, Jon Saraceno, our 8th season of Ballroom Boxing is underway, and boy, what a great night it's been.
I can't wait till our next show in November.
Can't wait as well. For Jon Scheinman and Jon Saraceno, I'm Larry Michael. We'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing.